all started with our application idea, and we converted the word to specific data and requirements we need to implement in our app. We then went to our application architecture and decided to implement our overview on how can we architect our app, and we decided to choose some sort of clean architecture using the data layer and UI layer. And then we talked about what's low fidelity design and how to design it. Then we talked about high fidelity design and how to design it, which is we exactly design the same implementation as those screens. We have also talked about the fonts which we have added in a custom font we have added in our application of Oswald family. There is also typography, which for every style now we have certain styling for each of our header, like in this scenario. And we have also talked about the navigation among the screens, and we implemented our navigation host with navigation controller responsible for navigating. We have also architected our app by feature, where each feature has its own data and domain and UI layer, and domain we haven't really used it in our app. So that's what we have do in terms of architecture. If we went back and decided, we have used shared preference for storing if the user has opened the app for the first time or not. We have also talked about preference data store as reactive extension concept, when it works with the flow, which provide us with active continuous stream of data which work asynchronized in an asynchronized way. So, and we have compared between the product data store and preference data store and shared data store. We have also talked about the utility class which we have implemented, and the utility class was very spaghetti code, so we used the solid principles and decided to use the open closed principle to convert our decoding utility before open closed principle to this structure, where we have our decoder interface and optional hash map data interface, and each one, since being implemented by each decoder, is based on the brand type, and for the factory it takes the type from either Samsung or LG, and it just generate whatever the decoding utility class needs. So now if we want just to add any other brand, we can simply just make another brand decoder which implements the decoder interface or with the optional hash map interface. And what we have done is that we have applied the strategy design pattern in this section, and we have added the factory design pattern in this section. So this resulted in the structure of our app to be scalable, where we can now add simple any decoder we want, just simple as this case. And we also talked about localization, where we started by making our app localized. We talked about adaptive layout and implemented our layout to be different from one screen to another. We have also talked about using camera and how to handle permissions, and if the user has denied it twice or multiple times. And we have also talked about how can we use the camera using camera X and the camera 2. We have learned a lot of topics here. We have also talked about side effects and simple animations as this animation. So that will be all for. We have also used Icon Kitchen to implement our app icon. We also use the resource manager in order to implement our app icon. So now you have two options in implement an app icon, and that's it for this application.